So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and update 29.10, the Corpus Proxima has just released, so let's check it out. Now this is going to be somewhat of a quick overview, because if I were to go over everything, this video would be 5 hours long. There are pages upon pages upon pages upon pages of stuff that came out with this update. This update is huge. Because this update didn't just add the Corpus Proxima, it essentially reworked the majority of Railjack and it made it more accessible. It introduced the Plexus System, so the way you mod the Railjack. It also changed a lot of the Intrinsics and it added the command Intrinsics, so you can now get a crew even if you're solo. There's also a new Sentinel, new weapons, it rebalanced the weapons that we had for Railjack. There's new mods and just stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. Hell, there's even a new melee stance in this update. And one more thing before we get into the video, just to quickly disclose, I am a Warframe partner, so I did get some stuff for free. So up until now, we've had 3 Proximas, Earth, Saturn, and Vale, but with this update, we also got the Venus, Neptune, and Pluto Proximas. These are not a continuation from the previous Proximas. They have their own level ranges, which are, as you can see on Venus, quite low. So this is the first big change. The second big change is basically the overhaul of, well, everything. Getting a Railjack is actually much cheaper now, and if you've already invested the time and resources into building a Railjack, you'll be given sort of a refund package that's going to have a bunch of stuff, things like boosters, mods, and even resources. Plus, you don't have to be in a clan anymore because every standard relay now has a dry dock of its own. Next big change is the introduction of the Plexus System, and you can access the Plexus System via a console that's to the left of your navigation. This looks quite familiar, does it not? Yes, because it's essentially like our normal mod system. So you have an aura slot, you have mod slots, you can slap a potato on there, you have a capacity, and you can use format to add or change polarities as well. Also, you can access your intrinsics from here. Now, one big thing about the Plexus system, as opposed to the old system that we had of modding our Railjack, is that it's personal. So even if you join someone else's Railjack, you're going to have your own Plexus setup, as will everyone else. So if you want to jump into a turret, the type of turret and the tier of turret will be determined by the host if you're not the host yourself, but the power of the turret and how much heat it generates, how much crit damage it has will be determined by your Plexus setup. This is really cool because you can specialize into certain things and you're not completely reliant on the host anymore, but it also means you have to put in some work and you can't just get carried by someone who has a maxed out ship. Well, you can still do that, but it's not going to be as easy as before, where you basically didn't have to do anything. Next on the menu, we have the Intrinsics. So a lot of the already existing Intrinsics have been shuffled about and changed a little bit, and there are even some new ones in there, but we also have a completely new Intrinsics tree, the command. It has finally arrived. So as soon as you put a point into the command intrinsic, the game will tell you that you can go and hire crew members from Tigger in Fortuna. So head over to Tigger on top of the elevator in Fortuna, where you will see he has a new option for you to select, which is hire Railjack crew members. These crew members cost random amounts of random things, and they also have a random set of skills in either piloting, gunnery, repair, combat, or endurance. These are pretty self-explanatory. Piloting makes good pilots, gunnery makes good gunners, repair makes good engineers, combat makes them do more damage, and endurance makes them tougher. These are not the only types of crew members you can get though, because if you get command to rank 8, you can start using liches that you've converted as your crew instead. However, liches, unlike the other crew members, can only be assigned as defenders of the ship. They cannot pilot the ship, they can't man turrets, and they cannot be engineers. Though they are significantly, and I do mean significantly, beefier than the other crew members you can get from Tigger. You also can't customize liches like you can the standard crew members. They will always look the same and they will have the same weapon, whereas the standard crew can be equipped with either a primary or a secondary weapon from your own arsenal, and they can be equipped with a full set of cosmetic armor as well as a Siandana, and you can change their color setups. Now, the jobs you can give to these standard crew members are either piloting, so they will pilot the ship and fly it around from objective to objective, a gunner, which will man one of the 2 turrets that you have on your ship, though I only found that that works if you give them a direct command from the tactical menu, otherwise they just roam the ship, a defender, which will defend the ship from boarding parties, and an engineer, which will also defend the ship from boarding parties, but will on top of that repair the ship as well. Now, the stats on the standard crew members can be shifted around a little bit. You get up to 3 points as you rank up your command intrinsic that you can then assign into one of the skills. So if you want an engineer to be a little bit beefier so that it has a better chance of surviving multiple boarding parties, this is where you do it, and these 3 extra points that you get from the command intrinsics can, as far as I can tell, be reset at will. Also, engineers are amazing. They will keep your ship alive through thick and thin as long as they don't die, which they can in some of the higher level missions if you're not paying attention. Now, another pretty big change is in the type of missions that you're going to be running into in these Proximas, because a lot of the time you go into the mission, you do a little bit of Railjack stuff, like maybe you destroy a cruise ship or two, you destroy some stuff on the outside of a capital ship, but then you go into the capital ship and suddenly you're in a normal Warframe exterminate. And when you combine this with the fact that your ship can basically pilot and sustain itself if you have good crew on there of like, you know, a pilot, an engineer, and either a gunner or a defender, means that there is no more Warframe in Railjack now. The balance between ship combat and on foot combat is much better, and you can tilt it either way. If you want more Railjack combat, you know, you can be more active on the ship, but if you want a less and you just want to do Arcwing and on foot stuff, you can do that too. This is a game changer for people like me that prefer to play solo, because it's no longer about either, you know, juicing your Railjack so it never gets destroyed or parking it really far away so it can't get destroyed, and you can actually play the game now. This is just amazing. This is so much nicer, oh my god. And it's not just exterminate. I, for example, flew into one of the capital ships, which turned out to be a defense mission that is endless if you want to. You can choose every 5 waves just like normal defense, whether you want to extract or continue. Though I must say I was really confused the first time I finished one of these capital ships, because there is no extraction at the end, so you run to the end point and then nothing happens, and you actually have to go back to your Railjack and move on from there. So I just did the thing that I've been doing for like 7 years now, which is follow the green thing and then kind of take my hands off the keyboard, stretch around a little bit, and oh, why am I not extracting? All right, Railjack, back to the ship we go. Next, we have resources. They've reduced the number of resources in Railjack by 5. They removed 6, which are Pastros, Copernics, Trachans, Kesslers, Bracoid, and Fresnos, and then they added in Tycor Plate. Also, and I forgot to mention this earlier, Dirac is no longer used to rank up your Railjack stuff, and you instead use Endo just like with normal mods. Then they unified the damage types across the entirety of Warframe, so Railjack no longer has its own set of damage types, which were kind of derived from the normal damage type, so everything has the same damage type, which is far more sensible. They also rebalance and change the reactors and the Railjack guns, and basically what the patch notes should say is everything is different, let the chaos begin. Because really, everything is different. They've changed so much stuff, it's gonna take a while for us to come through and understand it. Like, for example, now when you're on a Railjack, you draw from your own ammo pool for the stuff that requires ammo on the Railjack, so some of the special stuff. Abilities that you can use with the Railjack are no longer drawing from a shared energy pool and instead draw from your Warframe's energy pool. Hell, they even changed the layout of the Railjack to be much more straightforward, and I must say it is definitely better than it was before. This is also why I'm not really talking about balance and rewards and all that kind of stuff, because so much has changed. It's gonna take a while to figure all of this out. Because on top of all I've already covered, they added a ton of new weapons that you can get for the Railjack. They reworked Zephyr, they tweaked Lavos, they added a new set of mods for weapons that basically allow you to proc slash on an impact proc. They added more UI customization, the event tab has been improved, they added some additions, changes and fixes to conservation, and it just goes on and on and on. Improved AI navigation, improved objective marker, removed Kuva Tonkor's arming distance from projectiles. That's amazing, why is that buried all the way down here? Yeah, as I said, it just never ends, but if you want to check out the full patch notes, I will leave a link to them in the description down below, but for now, I am done. I'm gonna start working on the other videos, which are gonna cover the weapons and the new Railjack stuff, and all of this kind of shenanigans in more detail. I thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and it was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.